Hi kids, how are you? It's Pastor Wally. Yeah, we got a little late start today. There's a big snowstorm coming. I guess you all know about that, right? It's just started. Well, we got a little delayed today, but I'm glad that you're able to be here with us. I sure am, because every week we try to bring you something to talk about. Now today, because of the snowstorm and all, I don't have my co-stars, Brady and Kyler, with me. So, oh well. It's always a lot more fun when they're here, right? But anyway, I have some interesting things to talk about with you. Would you like to hear about it? I want to talk to you all about treasure and money. Do you have any treasure? Have you ever found treasure? Do you know anybody that's ever found treasure? Well, I just thought we'd talk a little bit about it because it's kind of interesting. What is treasure? Well, treasure is valuable, right? It's something that's valuable. And you know, for years and years and years, humans have had to have money for things, right? If you want to go and get a gallon of milk, you have to have some money to pay for the milk, right? If you want bread, or if you want to buy a new toy, you want to go on Amazon and buy a new toy, well, you need a gift card or something that had money in it so that you can go and do that, right? Well, do you know what they used to use a long time ago? A long time ago, they didn't have money. Yeah, like a long time ago. And like what they would use is they would trade things. Like if you wanted to buy a fish at the market, you know, you'd buy a bunch of fish, you'd bring something else to trade that was valuable, something that somebody else would need. And maybe, I don't know what you'd use, but maybe somebody would need it. Would want a goat, you know, and you buy a whole lot of fish for a goat. I don't know what the trading values would be back then, but most people were farmers and they had access to things like this, and so they would bring it. Or if you made stuff, suppose you were a potter, right? Suppose you made pottery. That was very important a long, long time ago because they didn't have glassware or plastic or anything, so you had to have pottery to cook with and keep things in. So suppose you worked like a potter and you worked on a wheel, and someday we're going to talk about that. That'd be an interesting talk, right? But you made pots. Well, then you'd have a lot of pots. So then that was like money. You could take a pot and you could trade it for the fish. See? That's how it works. Well, it's a little hard to know what's more valuable than something else because it takes so much time, for instance, for that potter to make the pot, right? Some might be really good and make them quick, but maybe it takes a little longer. And they had to get the clay, and they had to buy the clay, and they had, put it in a fire and a kiln, heat it up, and all that stuff. And a lot went into it. Maybe the pot was worth a lot more than the fish. So then people would be bargaining with each other about, well, I want 3 more fish for that pot, or something like that. Well, then what happened was people began to understand that there are certain things that are worth something to everybody. And a long time ago, they discovered that things like silver and gold were very, very valuable. They were hard to find. It was very hard to find silver and gold. You had to mine it, and find it, and it was hard to get. And why were they important metals? Well, they were different than like a piece of iron, because a piece of iron, if you left it outside long enough, what would happen to it? Have you ever looked at one? Well, how about maybe like your old swing set gets kind of rusty, right? Probably made out of iron. Iron rusts. Yeah, it gets that brown stuff all over it. And then what happens is if you leave it out there long enough, it's going to completely rust away and be gone. But silver and gold are different. Silver tarnishes. It also kind of has its own kind of rust, silver oxide. It combines with the air, the oxygen in the air. And it also does what the iron does, but it does it much slower. And it brightens up beautiful, really, really shiny. And so people liked it. They liked it for jewelry, for women for earrings, or necklaces. They liked it for all kinds of things, bracelets. And so it was a valuable thing everywhere you went because you could clean it up real quick and make it look shiny. Then there's gold. Oh, gold. Gold is really cool. You know why gold is cool? Gold is cool because it doesn't rust or tarnish at all. No. You could take a gold ring and drop it in the grass. Don't do that. But if you did that, if that happened, and 1,000 years went by, and somebody walked by and found it, you know what? It wouldn't be rusty at all. It would still be gold. In fact, they might just have to brush it up a little bit, just shine it up a little bit, for the dirt that's on it, and wash it up, but it would be shining gold because it doesn't rust. It always stays the same. So gold is the ultimate thing. So what happened was that people recognized that silver and gold were really important. So they would trade little bits of silver. They'd weigh out a little. In the Bible, they called it a shekel of silver. Little weights of silver was like money. Now it still wasn't really exact, but it was better than trading the goat for the fish, right? So they had little bits of money. Now what happened was, oh gosh, this is probably about maybe about 500-600 BC, somewhere in there. Somebody got the idea to take the silver and the gold, and the government, or the king, whoever started it, and I don't remember who it was, but they would mint it. In other words, they would take it, they put it in a press, they melt it down, put it in a press, make a little coin out of it. Yeah, a little coin, and that coin was just like the coins we use today. You know what? I have some really old coins. Would you like to see them? Oh, I think it's really cool. It's very interesting. I have some old Roman coins. Yeah, Roman coins. 2,000 years old almost. Some of them are. Yes, and I'll just show you a couple of them. Here's one from this is a really clear one, so I'm going to show you this one. Put them in little things like this. Now, can you see that? Can you see that? Okay, that is the Emperor Nerva. Okay, he was at the end of the 1st century, so that's about 1,900 years ago he lived. And he was a Roman emperor. And what you would do when you were the emperor in Rome, you would take the coinage and you'd have somebody draw out your face on it and print it. And then this went out all over the empire, and people knew that you were the emperor. See, they didn't have television. They didn't even have newspapers. So this was the one way you could let everybody know that you were the top guy. But anyway, this is called a denarius. It's a silver denarius. And a denarius, I'm going to take this right out of there for a second. Here we go. Actually, that one's not so easy to take out. Let's take out a different one. Let's take out, here's a good one. This is from the Emperor Vespasian. And he was the Emperor of Rome from 69, AD 69 to AD 70. He was, 79 rather. He was, for 10 years, he was the Roman Emperor. And he was a very famous Roman Emperor. He was a general. He was a really kind of a strict guy. And this is his picture. This is a Roman coin, there you go, of the Emperor Vespasian. You can see that? And it's a little hard to get it exactly correct there on it with seeing it nice and clear, but that's a Roman coin. Now notice this, it's not exactly nicely neat and even like some of the other coins that we use today. Now here's a quarter. Here's a quarter that we use today, right? Everybody knows what a quarter is, right? Here's the Roman denarius. Look at how much smaller it was. But you know what? This was pure silver. Yeah, pure silver. We use other kinds of metals now in these coins. They're not quite so valuable, but this was a very, very valuable thing. Now, you know what a denarius was worth? Well, for the most Romans, like a Roman soldier, if you got paid with coins, you got paid one of these a day. A denarius a day. Like $1. It was like $1 to them. But their dollar was worth a lot more than our dollars. This was a whole day's pay. Now, I mean, just to use an example, today, if you were at minimum wage, which is like $15 an hour, I think, right? Well, you'd be making over $100 a day, the minimum wage, and if you made more money, it'd be hundreds of dollars a day. But they made just this $1. So this was a very valuable thing. This was worth many hundreds, many of our dollars now. Very valuable thing. Yeah, so that's how money works. Money is kind of like taking your time and your effort that you do use and kind of making it into like a little coin. You get paid this for what you did. Now, for all that I worked, it's worth this. Now I can go out and I can buy things with this. Well, now we have many different kinds of coins. We have dimes, and nickels, and all kinds of coins that we use, and pennies and things. Some are worth a lot more than others, right? American money. And so it's true almost every country of the world has some kind of money. Some kind of money looks really different. Yeah, like some kind of money, like in England, they don't have the dollar, they have the pound. Yes, the pound. And the pound looks like this. Here's what, and if you were in England and you used a pound that was minted by the Queen, this is what it looks like. Like that. Oh, here we go. There she is. Queen of England. See that? Look how thick it is. It's real thick. See that? It's a lot thicker than our coins and a little smaller. The Queen of England. That is a royal pound from England. Yeah, it's worth a little more than our dollar is. But it's the same thing. It just they have different values because everybody's economy works a little differently. Well, that doesn't matter anything right now. What we're talking about though is how your effort and everything is reduced to this, and so it's very important. It's important to save money too. You know, if you save money and you put it like in a bank, well, it grows, right? Or you invest it in something, it grows over time and it increases in more money. So it's a good thing to save money whenever you can. Yeah. You know what they did and sometimes this happened back in the Roman days when the Romans didn't have enough coins to give the soldiers. You know what they paid them in? Salt. They paid them in salt. Yeah, salt. Imagine you worked all day long and you went up and they gave you a bag full of salt. Just like this kind of salt. They paid you in salt. Well, why did they do that? Did they think they weren't valuable? No. They paid them in salt because salt was valuable. You use salt to preserve food and season food, and they didn't have refrigerators, so you needed salt to preserve stuff. It was very, very important, and you had to mine it out of the ground. So it took a lot of labor and effort. It was worth a lot of money. So if you were a Roman soldier, at the end of the day, they would give you a bag of salt, and then you could go out and you could trade that. It's interesting, huh? Well, one more thing I want to show you. You know, we're talking about treasure, right? You know how pirates are known for treasure. Yar, pirates, they got a lot of treasure, right? Well, pirate treasure, you know, pirates would get treasure from, well, they would do it in a bad way. They would, you know, rob other ships and things like that. And then they would put it in a chest, and then they would take it and they would have to hide it because they didn't have banks. Oh, Buster's here. Buster's wanting a little attention. Hold on, let's see. Buster, what is it that you want tonight? What's the matter? You want to be in? You want to be in the show and see the kids? Well, there they are, right there. Here they are. Okay, you got to settle down now. You got to wait. You got to settle down. Okay. Well, anyway, pirates didn't put their money in a bank. They put it in a treasure chest. Yeah, like that. A treasure chest. Only really, really, really big ones, right? And they would open up the treasure chest. Everybody's dreamed of finding one of these. And inside it was gold, right? Gold and all kinds of jewels and things that you could find that would be worth a lot of money, all kinds of stuff that anybody would like to steal, but they didn't want somebody else to steal their treasure, so they'd go to some island somewhere and they'd bury it. And they'd have to, you make a little map and they'd put X marks the spot on the map, and they would have to keep that map, and it was a secret. Sometimes they never got their treasure back. There's treasures that are still buried out there somewhere. People look for them all the time. Sometimes they find them. Well, did you know that Jesus told a story about that? Yeah. He told a story about a man who was walking along the road, and he saw in a field by the road, he saw there was like some digging or something that had been going on, and he had heard that there was treasure that was stored in that field, it was hidden in that field, and he saw where it was dug up, and he thought, that's where the treasure is. That's where that great treasure is that they hid hundreds of years ago. Well, he was sure of it. So you know what he did? He went and he decided he had to get the treasure, but somebody else owned the field. So he had to own the field to get the treasure. So what he did was he went and you know what he did? He sold everything. He sold his house. He sold his boat. He sold everything that he had, all his everything. Everything that he liked to play with, everything that he liked to keep and collect, all of it. He sold it. And he took all that money And then he went to the guy that owned the field. And he gave him the money and he bought the field from him. He got the deed, right? The deed all written out. And he owned the field. Then he went and he got the treasure. And he was a happy man. Now what does that mean? What's that? Why would Jesus tell a story like that? Well, the reason he told a story like that is because he said this. He said, the kingdom of God is like a man who found treasure hidden in a field. And for the joy of owning that treasure, he went and sold everything he had so he could buy the field and have the treasure. Do you know what he was talking about? He was really talking about loving him and following God and following Jesus and being his follower. You know, he said, some people, he said, listen, you know, you're going to have to give up something if you want to follow me. He says, you can't have it all right now, but you will have it all in the end. Come, follow me. A rich young man came up to Jesus one time. And he said, you know what he said? He said, Lord, I believe I'll serve you. You know, I've done everything right since I was a little kid. I went to Sunday school. I did everything right. And I follow God's commandments. And he said, what more do I need? Jesus looked at him, looked right into his heart. And he said, it's just one thing that you need. Only one thing that you lack, Jesus said. The young man said, what is it? Jesus said, go and take all your riches, all your money, all the things you own that are fancy stuff. Go and sell it all and give that money to poor people and get rid of it with people who need it, and then come and follow me. Oh. The rich man went like this. He says, oh, I can't do that. And it says he went away sad because he had a lot of things, he had a lot of riches. It was very hard to sell them all, hard to give them up. But you see, Jesus says, if you want to follow me, I've got to be the most important thing in your life. And if he is the most important thing in your life, you know what you're going to have? You're going to have a happy heart. You're going to have joy inside. Because you know what? All the things that we have, it doesn't mean anything. Oh, they might be interesting, might be nice to look at, might be fun to play with. But you know what? Nothing can give you the kind of joy in your heart that you can get from knowing our Lord Jesus Christ. So if you love Jesus, if you want him in your life, ask him in and say, Lord, I'll give you everything. I want to follow you. That's what it's all about. It's more important than all the money and all the gold in the world. It's more important to follow Jesus. Because you know what? This world's all going to pass away. But heaven will not. And you'll have great treasure, Jesus said, when you get there, if you follow him. Well, that's the message for today. All about money and treasure, and what really is treasure is following Jesus. So we got a song to sing. You want to sing the song? I kind of like singing the song part. Do you like that? I hope so. Well, let's take the guitar and let's sing a song. And the song is, I have decided to follow Jesus. Have you decided to follow Jesus? Well, that's what it's all about. That's what it's all about, asking him in your heart and wanting to follow him every day. Here's a song. It goes like this. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. Sing that with me. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back. No turning back. Here's another verse to it. No, none go with me, yet I will follow. No, none go with me, yet I will follow. No, none go with me, yet I will follow. No turning back, no turning back. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. I have decided to follow Jesus. No turning back, no turning back. And I'm so happy. in my heart, and I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. Remember that song we sang it last week? And I'm so happy, so very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart, and I'm so happy, oh very happy. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. I've got the love of Jesus in my heart. Well, I hope you have the love of Jesus in your heart, and I hope you have a wonderful week, and I hope you have a lot of fun in the snow tomorrow, because it looks like we're going to get a lot of it. Bye-bye now. See you later, alligators.